When my wife, Emma, leaned against the doorway that Friday evening, fixing her earrings and saying casually, "Don't wait up, okay?" I felt that familiar twist in my gut. It wasn't the words, she'd said them before, it was her tone. Too relaxed, too confident, like she'd rehearsed it. I was sitting on the couch, pretending to scroll through my phone, but really, I'd been tracking every movement she made for the past half hour, the extra perfume, the black dress I hadn't seen her wear in months, and the nervous way she kept glancing at her phone. "Don't wait up," she said again, smiling. I finally looked up and replied evenly, "Sure. Have fun with David." Her smile froze. For a split second, the blood drained from her face. "What?" she stammered, trying to laugh it off. "Who's David?" I tilted my head, pretending to think. "You know, the guy whose messages start with, 'Can't wait to see you again,' winking face. She blinked rapidly, her hand still on the doorknob. You went through my phone," she said, voice sharp now. I shrugged. "No, Emma. David did. He messaged me by mistake." That wasn't true, of course. I had seen the messages myself, sweet little flirty notes she thought she'd hidden by changing his name in her contacts to Diana. But her reaction right now confirmed more than any screenshot could. She swallowed hard, searching for something to say, but I just smiled faintly and turned my attention back to the TV, letting the silence between us stretch like a wire about to snap. "Look," she finally said, her voice suddenly soft, pleading, "It's not what you think, okay?" I didn't look at her. "Then what is it, Emma? A friendly dinner? With the guy you accidentally texted about missing last night?" Her face twisted in panic, and for a moment I thought she'd break down right there. But she didn't. Instead, she straightened her back and muttered, "Believe what you want," before slamming the door behind her. What she didn't know was that I'd already planned everything. I'd installed a small tracking app on her car last week, not because I wanted to spy, but because the signs had become impossible to ignore, the late meetings, the perfume lingering when she came home, the way she avoided my eyes when I asked how her day was. Tonight was about finding the truth. So, I grabbed my jacket, waited 10 minutes, and followed the little blinking on my phone screen. She drove across town to a restaurant I knew well, the Silver Swan, a cozy, dimly lit place perfect for romantic dinners. I parked a few blocks away, my heart thudding as I walked quietly toward the windows. There she was, sitting at a corner table, laughing, that soft, flirty laugh she used to save for me, across from a man I instantly recognized from her office party photos. David. I watched for a moment, my chest tightening, but instead of storming in, I pulled out my phone and snapped a photo. Calm. Cold. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of seeing me broken. After 10 minutes, I texted her, forgot to ask, "How's dinner with David?" From my spot across the street, I saw her check her phone, and her expression changed instantly. Panic. She froze mid-laugh, glanced around the restaurant, scanning every face like a hunted animal. David asked something, but she shook her head quickly, pretending everything was fine. Then she texted back, "I don't know what you think you're doing, but this isn't funny." I replied with the photo. "You sure?" Her face turned white. She stood abruptly, knocking over her wine glass. David looked confused, trying to calm her down, but she was already grabbing her bag and rushing outside. I stepped back into the shadows and watched as she stumbled into the parking lot, frantically looking around. She called me, I didn't answer. She called again. And again. I let it ring until she finally sent one last message, "Please, let me explain. It's not what you think." I waited a moment, then finally replied, "Then why do you look guilty?" That night, I didn't go home. I checked into a nearby hotel, turned off my phone, and lay there staring at the ceiling, my chest heavy with anger and something deeper, disappointment. I kept replaying everything in my head, the nights she'd claimed to be working late, the lies she'd wrapped in tenderness, the way she used to kiss me goodbye but had stopped months ago. I'd given her everything, trust, love, comfort, and she'd traded it for cheap secrecy. The next morning, when I finally returned home, she was sitting on the couch, eyes red, clutching her phone. "You didn't come home," she whispered. "You noticed," I said dryly. She stood up, walking toward me. "Please, Mark, listen. It wasn't an affair. David and I were talking about work. He's been helping me plan something for you." I laughed, bitter and tired. "Right. And the heart emojis were part of the business plan?" She bit her lip, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I know it looks bad, but I swear." "Save it," I cut in. "You had your chance to explain last night, but you chose to lie. You walked out that door knowing exactly what you were doing." She tried to touch my arm, but I stepped back. "You've been distant for months," I said quietly. I thought maybe it was stress, or maybe something I did wrong. But it was him, wasn't it? The excitement, the thrill, the new attention. She shook her head violently. "No, Mark. I made a mistake. I got caught up in something stupid. But I never meant to hurt you." I stared at her, and for a moment, I almost believed her, until her phone buzzed again on the table. I didn't even have to look. Her eyes said it all. "David," I murmured. She tried to grab the phone, but I was faster. The message read, "You okay? Did he buy it?" That was it. I dropped the phone onto the couch and walked toward the door. She chased after me, crying now. "Please, Mark. I'll end it. I'll do anything." I paused, turned slightly, and said the last words she'd ever hear from me, "You already ended it." I walked out without looking back. The morning sunlight felt cruelly bright, but freeing. I didn't know what the future held, but I knew one thing for certain: I'd spent too long waiting for someone who had already left me in every way that mattered. By the time I reached my car, my phone buzzed again. Another message from her. I didn't open it. I blocked her number instead, started the engine, and drove away, not just from the house, but from the man I'd been in that marriage, the trusting fool who waited up every night. Now, as the city faded behind me, I smiled faintly. Maybe one day she'd realize what she'd lost. But by then, I'd be too far gone for her to find.